My friends at G Fuel just launched a new flavor, Sour Phaseberry, and in celebration, my code ESPRESSO is now 30% off through Monday the 25th. If you guys are interested, check the link in the description below to get 30% off your order. Season 3 is coming to a close. This time next week, we may very well be prepping our consoles for a massive update that is more than likely going to be kicking off Season 4, bringing with it a whole host of new goodies like new maps, a new battle pass, a new operator, possibly an update to Warzone in some capacity. But in the time before then, I wanted to talk to you about the final days of Modern Warfare and Warzone's Season 3, what's still to come, let you know about things that you should be doing in the meantime, and anything in between to get ready for Season 4 going forward. But with that said, as we go along, I'd love to get your thoughts down below. If you could add one map into Modern Warfare, what would it be and why? And as well, if you are new to the channel and perhaps part of that nearly 72% of viewers who are not subscribed, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare and Warzone on a daily basis, especially as we draw increasingly closer to the next big update next week with much more to discuss over the coming days. But that said, let's jump into it. For today's video, I want to discuss firstly what we'll be seeing in the upcoming week here, and then after that moving over into some reminders of sorts for what you should be doing before Season 4 ends. So what's happening up on deck this week? Firstly though, to preface, there doesn't seem like there is any sort of blog post detailing the week ahead from Activision officially like we normally get, so some of this stuff may come down to just general inferences, some theory and thoughts following past patterns that we've seen with prior seasons and things alike. But as of tomorrow, we do know that there's going to be a playlist refresh, as there always is every single Tuesday. Whether or not that means giving us a whole host of new game modes to play around with in the final week of Modern Warfare Season 3, that's a little less likely, but we may see another introduction in terms of LTMs for Warzone. BR Trios Classic was added in, so while that was added in over the weekend, it may be something that continues on into the next week as well, but there's that possibility that maybe there's something else. For MP, again, we're probably just going to see our rotation of a 24/7 playlist of sorts, some sort of gunfight variation, and one that I'm curious on is that maybe we'll get the introduction of One in the Chamber. This was added to custom games as of last week's title update of 1.21 that added in, of course, everything like the new maps of Hard Hat and Isle 9, but One in the Chamber was only added in to custom games at that time. But David Mickner took to Twitter and said, "For now," with a smiley face. So very possible that maybe with this being introduced with the last update, it isn't something that is going to be introduced as a launch mode, but instead is something that just fills out our MP side of things here and gives us one more smaller taste of something new before we jump into a whole new content offering with Season 4. What we'll also see is tomorrow the completion of the tier sale currently going on right now. As it stands, today may in fact be the final day of the tier sale going on, and Modern Warfare is introduced with the update on Tuesday once again, but we now have that red ribbon denoting the sale is coming down to the wire. Having completed the battle pass, I can't see the exact specifics on that, which is kind of a weird feature, but in this next few hours before it finishes up, tiers will be discounted by 33% down to 100 COD points as opposed to the standard 150 that they are on a regular basis. Outside of that though, I would definitely expect to see a lot more in terms of information and teasers relating to Season 4 coming this week. We ended up seeing that we had that one-story transmission between Kate Laswell as well as Nikolai, in which the Armistice forces intercepted an Al-Qatala transmission of a conversation between Khaled al-Assad as well as Viktor Zakayev, to which we learned a little bit about what we'd end up seeing in Season 4, that being one of the new weapons, at least it looked like the Galil in a modern day sense, and also Captain Price seemingly being the operator we'll see coming as well. But with a week left before the launch of Season 4, that's not going to be the only stuff we end up seeing when all is said and done. We're going to see new teasers on socials more than likely. I would expect a blog post detailing everything likely coming later this week as well. I'd expect a preview blog this time next Monday talking about what'll be launching in, at that time, just about a 24-hour span, and then also the event going live fully on Tuesday, maybe Tuesday into Wednesday, though I'd likely anticipate it being Monday into Tuesday. But that said, that's going to be something that fills up our plates and appetites with some information just being drip fed to us in a more so teaser and story centric approach to it. And then finally, in regards to stuff likely happening, this isn't confirmed, but we've seen it happen quite a few times in the last couple of seasons, is that of maybe a double XP weekend to round out the season. Something that allows players, if they have not completed everything, the chance to do this with a little bit of help as a last second thing. Again, as we mentioned earlier in the video, with no formal blog post previewing the week ahead, this is more so an uncertainty, but something that I would not be surprised if it does happen here in this case. Also, another thing that I totally forgot to mention when writing down my notes here for this video is the shop refresh that happened happens every single Tuesday. What's curious is that we actually had a bunch of stuff, 12 new bundles to be exact, that was added in with update 1.21. Now, this actually might all be seen here before Season 4's kickoff next week, and what is adding in then more content after that. While we only get about 3 featured items per week, at the most 2 on Tuesday and 1 on Friday, a lot of these seem to be blueprint or operator bundles that are available for the user and not necessarily universally across the board in that featured tab. Things like your Fearless pack were introduced as this past weekend, same with the Surprise bundle, and then also we saw things like the Hedgie Meeskin Limited, the Avocado's Revenge, and the Trick Shot bundles making their way into the blueprint and user end specific editions as well. So of course that leaves a couple of featured items, maybe like that Tracer Pack Purple, which looks to be another featured item, and of course the rest of these even having some remnants of their additions in Warzone being in play already. So these things are likely to be coming within the next week as well, and are some cool bundles that maybe have you interested. But that's the stuff that's up on deck as of this week. But what about stuff you should make sure you do before Season 4 kicks off? There's 3 main things that you really want to hit on and make sure that you're tackling before next Tuesday and when Season 4 kicks off, with a giant content update and a refresh of all things that you'll be seeing relative to your account. Things like your player rank, your battle pass, and your officer challenges are all going to be things that will reset and have new starts as of next week. So if you want to get that Fugitive Scar variant outfitted with a Forge Attack 20-inch barrel, the Scout Combat Optic, the 25-round magazine, and the 40mm high explosive grenade launcher underbarrel, that's something you get for reaching 155. Make sure you do that, take advantage of that. If there's a 24/7 playlist, end up jumping into that. You can rank up pretty quickly in those. Of course, if you have double XP tokens saved up, you can use those as well. If you're like me, I don't use my double XP tokens at all because I totally forget they exist, but then I end up having situations where I'll have things like 15 1-hour double XP tokens because I haven't used them for the last couple of seasons. You can use those and rank up and help you get to 155 a little quicker. Then of course you have your things like your battle pass, which you definitely want to take advantage of. If you haven't gotten Alex, if you haven't activated your battle pass, make sure you do that. But if you haven't got the SKS or the Renetti is still honestly still pretty impressive as a weapon, especially when dual wielded with those akimbos and with the burst mods. Even though it just underwent some nerfs here with it, it's still a powerhouse and something of a formidable weapon to use as well. Jump in, take advantage of that. Of course, you still have those awesome blueprint rewards and max tier skins at the top of the battle pass. You end up having a new Hilo skin, you end up getting a really cool SKS skin. Of course, you get Alex from what you see from just post campaign, where you can tell it's actually Alex. He doesn't have any of the masking or anything in that regard, but make sure you jump in and complete all of that if you have not done so already. Unfortunately, I don't know if there will be a double tier event, so the tier event and the tier sale may be something that is the closest you get to boosting your progress here over the coming days. But again, that only lasts likely until tomorrow, so make sure you're aware of that. If you want to play stuff just for your battle pass, things like Warzone is a fantastic way to do that since it's guaranteed playtime. Longer game modes like Domination, Search and Destroy, all that stuff helps to compound as well. And also, we talked about how trials are a fantastic way to boost that XP in a small amount of time, and that's actually what helps out your tier progression. XP plays in slightly to that yield for your battle pass progression, and it's factored in based on the condensed nature of XP. The more XP in a smaller amount of time, that's what progresses it faster. Otherwise, if you play just a regular match, it might not seem like XP yields any progress at all towards your battle pass, and it's strictly time. But again, trials that you can use double XP tokens on or just absolutely crush in a very short period of time helps out greatly. But other than that, the other stuff you need to take care of is that of your officer challenges, if you care about these at all. I know some people don't care too much, some people really love to do these, but the 100 officer challenges you end up getting per season, those will refresh as of next week and Season 4's kickoff. So if you have not gotten that completionist emblem just yet, or wherever you want to be in those, make sure you take advantage of that, and of course try and get those out of the way while you still have the opportunity to. One thing to note though, talking about that completionist emblem, I still think that it is bugged for players where it's not animated, so I would imagine that come Season 4's launch and the update for that, it updates that so that you finally do get that animated emblem as you have been able to the last couple of seasons. Now the weird part, of course, though, is that it's not granted seemingly during the season like the last two have been, but Season 0, or that pre-season that we had with the officer ranks, that was the kind of same thing where it didn't give us the animated emblem up until the start of the next season. So maybe the same case here with that, but just bear that in mind. But other than that, that is kind of where we're at here with this and everything you need to be aware of for the final week of Season 3 within Modern Warfare and Warzone. I'm excited to see what becomes of the next week, what information we end up seeing along the way, and of course, also, as of next Tuesday, what Season 4 brings along with us. As it stands right now, we still know very little, so it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out. But that's where we're at, and that's what looks to be the end of Season 3. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you looking forward to the end of what we have here and what we may be seeing very soon on deck with Season 4? Feel free to let me know your thoughts, but hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered here on the channel, especially as we round into Season 4. So if you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. I can live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.